So right over here we have our equipment and we have a couple yards of soil, and this is what we're going to be backfilling the pond with. The reason why it's easier sometimes just to backfill the pond after demoing it is we aren't constrained to following the same shape. We want to leave a few feet off the seating area retaining wall, so if the customers want to sit down or any guests want to sit down, they aren't capable of just falling into the pond. So there's going to be like about a 3-foot pathway along this side where you can sit down, enjoy the pond without having to tiptoe across this little section. So being able to fill it in gives us the creative freedom to reconstruct the edges without having them collapse on us while we're building. We are on Long Island, we have a lot of sand. That is just the easiest way for us. This is where the fish are going to be temporarily held for the next couple days while we construct that new pond. Alright, after half a day, this pond is completely demoed and we have backfilled the pond. So this is where the existing pond was. We brought in about 3 yards of soil and used the soil that was underneath the existing waterfall and completely backfilled this pond. As I was saying in the beginning, for us sometimes it's just easier to backfill the pond and then start from scratch. The reason for that is the old pond ended right about here. The new pond is actually going to have a 3-foot walkway, and then the pond is going to start. And there's no way for us to backfill just this part of the shelf and then excavate. We would be flipping the liner constantly, so it's just easier to backfill, dig it from scratch, and use that soil that was generated just for our waterfall berm now. Over here in our dump trailer, this is what comprised the old pond. All that red brick and cinder blocks and slate and miscellaneous stuff was what was the base for that waterfall. Wasn't really that much soil. As you can see, it's just a lot of garbage. We're gonna be spray painting this, marking out the new pond, and then excavating it, getting the liner in, biofalls in the skimmer. Like we said, the waterfall is gonna be starting somewhere where that excavator is, and we're gonna be adding a 6-foot stream starting from the biofalls, falling into this 8x11 pond. And where Rob's standing is where the skimmer is gonna be, somewhere in that general vicinity. That's where the customer is gonna go underneath this canopy of beautiful trees and walk in here, do their maintenance, and they're gonna have a little seating bench or possibly their little frog statue all the way back there. Right now we have the entire pond rocked in. We've moved on to the waterfalls. We have one more cascade. We were just able to set the biofalls. Typically we would set that first, right when we're doing the excavation, just to backfill it. But in this scenario, as you can see, it is pretty tight with access right now. That machine was where the biofalls was, so we could set some of these boulders inside the pond. So we had to work a little backwards on this one. But today the goal is to edge this whole pond, button up that waterfalls, and get this pond filled and running today. Tomorrow we might have to come back just to bring in some extra soil. As you can see, we brought in 3 yards of soil to backfill the existing pond, but I don't know where the dirt went. That biofalls shouldn't be standing up that tall without dirt. I understand that because of these existing trees and where the old waterfall was, that the root ball actually sits about a foot higher than the grade. So we're gonna just kind of make that a rolling hill and then make this side the back berm. We're gonna do some retaining work around here because the homeowner does want to have a pathway around this little weeping spruce over here. So we're gonna have to kind of retain the berm a little bit. So we're gonna do some retaining wall work with some of these larger boulders. We still want to make it look nice because that is their seating area all the way in the backyard, and they don't want to be staring at a retaining wall. So instead, we'll do some accent boulder work around here, and they can plant up the pockets with some beautiful terrestrial plants that will make this look way more natural than the other waterfall that they had over there. So like I said, we got one more cascade to go in. We just got to do the biofalls hookup. We were able to get the plumbing in yesterday and connect the skimmer to it, but right now me and Rob are going to edge since it's still a little early in the morning. The homeowners aren't awake. We don't want to wake them up with loud machinery. So we're going to spend the next hour or so just edging this pond and then get one step closer to finishing this off. The current homeowners absolutely love the new pond. They're already sitting out here enjoying it with us before we were even done. But I'm gonna walk you guys through what we did and why we did it. The old pond was right around this area. Right where that tree starts is where the pond ended. And it came out about a foot off this retaining wall with the waterfall underneath that arbor of trees right there. Instead of following the same design, what we did was we demoed the existing pond, we backfilled it, and we created a new 8x11 pond. The old pond was a 6x6, so we extended it longer that way. And then we chose to do another 6-foot long waterfall going all the way back there. The reason for that is because the old waterfall was tucked behind this retaining wall. So with the new waterfall, everything is facing the viewing areas, and it's a 6-foot long meandering stream in here. This pond is an 8x11, 2 feet deep. As if you've seen any of our videos before, you know the water's cloudy right as a startup. But you can already see the first shelf, and it's only been running for a few hours. Give it a few more days, this thing will be crystal clear. I personally love how this waterfall came out, especially this cascade, how you have multiple weir stones. You have this one weir stone leveling out, and it slides off this. This one produces so much sound and ambience into the backyard. And then the top waterfalls over here is a simple sheet style waterfall. Produces very little sound, but it's just visually appealing. See, the new fish are already playing in the waterfall. We have actually a little rock right here that the waterfall hits and really pushes that water out to give really good circulation. The fish are currently playing in that current. And as you can see, with all the rock and gravel, the old pond was just liner, but now they are nibbling on the rocks. As they are bottom feeders, that is what they do. Well, that's a wrap on this job. We'll catch you guys on the next job.